Part 47. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 461. Just like when he was a kid, after being beaten by Zhang Yuning, Zhang Zizai shamelessly threw Lingling to her and ran away. This was a happy beating. In front of her, he seemed to have returned to his childhood, playing pranks every day, making Zhang Yuning laugh and cry. I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow. Zhang Zizai dived into the ocean alone. Now is not the time to be happy. He has to verify it himself and make sure that this must be one of the 6 great talismans, the beast taming talisman, before he can be happy. He has locked onto the target. In front of him is the deep-sea giant beast, Lingling's cow, the deep-sea giant whale. A source beast with a huge body but no eggs. Its gentle temperament is just right for Zhang Zizai's first attempt. Zhang Zizai holds the beast taming talisman in his hand, and he doesn't know how to start. As usual, let's drip blood. Anyway, the beast taming talisman didn't make much noise when activated by True Qi. He stood on the back of the deep-sea giant whale, cut his palm, and placed the beast taming talisman on his palm. At this moment, the beast taming talisman absorbed a lot of his blood and stuck to his palm. What Zhang Zizai felt was a tingling pain, as if the beast taming talisman had been connected to his blood. The tingling feeling was very unbearable. He looked down and found that the beast taming talisman had grown together with his flesh and blood. Just like the immortal talisman. Zhang Zizai couldn't bear the tingling pain at all, but he was happy, which meant that this was not a piece of waste paper, it was very likely a beast taming talisman. Without hesitation, he directly pressed the beast taming talisman in the palm of his hand on the back of the deep-sea giant whale. At that moment, the deep-sea giant whale let out an earth-shattering scream. With his palm as the core, a dark yellow totem pattern instantly spread, and in a very short time, it completely wrapped the deep-sea giant whale like a rope. The next moment, Zhang Zizai's devouring heaven demon dragon totem vibrated, and those dark yellow totem patterns suddenly turned pitch black. What Zhang Zizai felt was that he and the deep-sea giant whale were gradually connected by blood, as if his blood had entered its body. It was almost like letting his blood control its entire body and its life and death. The blood was connected, and even Zhang Zizai only needed to use his mind to control the deep-sea giant whale. This feeling of control quickly took shape. It can be said that the process of blood connection was very painful. Zhang Zizai felt as if something was being taken out of his body, and his face turned pale. Fortunately, the whole process did not last too long. Bang! Finally, at a certain moment, Zhang Zizai was shaken away. When he stabilized, he suddenly found that the beast taming talisman had turned into a huge black totem pattern, covering the other party's body and completely integrated with the other party's body. The deep-sea giant whale's eyes turned black, cold, and mysterious. The feeling of blood connection was extremely clear. Zhang Zizai found that controlling the deep-sea giant whale was almost like his instinct. Follow me, he didn't say it out loud, just a thought, and the deep-sea giant whale followed him to the deserted island. Zhang Zizai rushed out of the deserted island and stood on it. When his idea just came up, the sea suddenly surged. Lingdang, come out and see. At Zhang Zizai's shout, Lingdang and Zhang Yuning came out of the house. As soon as they came out, they saw the deep-sea giant whale rushing out from the bottom of the sea like a dolphin, flying into the air, and then falling down with a bang, exploding a sky full of water. Grandma, Lingdang's eyes were straight. What Zhang Zizai saw was the beast-controlling talisman, and what she saw was her grandmother. Come, I'll reward you. Let you drink to your heart's content today. Under Zhang Zizai's control, the deep-sea giant whale swam nearby. Zhang Zizai took Lingling down. For a moment, the milk all over the sky sprayed Lingling's face. For her, happiness came too suddenly. For Zhang Zizai, happiness also came too suddenly. My daughter, swim in the sea of talismans and find me a 6th great divine talisman. He still feels like he is dreaming. However, all the reality shows that this is definitely the beast controlling talisman of the 6 great divine talismans, as can be seen from his control over this deep-sea giant whale. This deep-sea giant whale will work for Zhang Zizhe without hesitation. It is almost equivalent to an arm of Zhang Zizhe. It is a miracle. Only the beast controlling talisman of the 6 great divine talismans can be so magical. Today, Lingling was so happy that she burped and slept. Zhang Zizhe came to the giant whale. He wanted to put away the beast talisman to see what would happen. When his palm touched the totem pattern began to shrink and finally returned to his hand. After the deep-sea giant whale was free, its eyes regained clarity. Zhang Zizhe let it go. He looked at it and saw that the beast talisman had 2 changes. The first obvious change was that the beast talisman turned gray, just like the immortal talisman after it was used. Obviously, it would take until it turned dark yellow again before it could be used. The 6 great talismans could not be used casually. After all, talismans were originally disposable items. If they could be reused, their nature would be infinitely close to totem magic weapons. The second obvious change is that under the 2 big words beast taming, there is a drop of blood. Zhang Zizhe, that is his own blood, proving that this beast talisman has been centered on him. It does not need to stick to his body like the immortal talisman, but it is very likely that as long as he is alive, others may not be able to use it even if they get it. This chapter is not over yet, please click on the next page to continue reading. The first time he was connected with the blood of the deep-sea giant whale, he had already been recognized by the beast talisman. It may be related to blood, or it may be related to totems. When he returned to Qingyu Island, Zhang Zizhe was a little dazed. I was originally eager for the lifeless talisman, but I suddenly got the beast talisman, which made me lose the mood for the lifeless talisman. Of course, what will happen if I can get the 3rd of the 6 great talismans? He was eager again. But thinking carefully, there are still strong men like Jingxian, Fan Qinyu, and Ye Chen blocking the way ahead, which is really a headache. It seems that even if I am more talented than them, it is useless. This time, the 10,000 Talismans Association only recognizes strength, regardless of age. He certainly did not dare to use the beast taming talisman, so for the time being, he had to practice honestly. Let's get through Jingxian first. Realm is part of it. Although he is only sprinting to the 5th level of the Divine Seal realm, the real battle is ever changing, and there may be a chance. In addition to sprinting to the realm, he is also practicing a battle tactic. The name of the battle tactic is called 9 Heaven Tribulation Thunderclaw. From the name, you can tell that this is Zhang Yunting's unique skill, which is a high-grade sun-level battle tactic that has been passed down by the Kailan royal family for more than 10,000 years. Zhang Junjian has not started learning yet. After returning to the great Zhongqing city, he started to think about this battle tactic. The high-grade sun-level battle tactic is generally only involved in the peak of the Divine Seal realm. This is a method close to the Kun-level battle tactic. Zhang Yunting once used it and established a great reputation on the battlefield. Now, the inheritance has been passed on to Zhang Zizhe, and through the transformation of the devouring demon dragon totem, it will definitely exert different power. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 462. When he was in the great Zhongqing city, Zhang Zizhe began to practice the 9 Heaven Tribulation Thunderclaw. To this day, he has practiced it countless times, and the only thing left is to master it. Practicing the battle tactics of the Kailan royal family, Zhang Zizhe felt like he had returned to the first battle tactics he practiced. That was the Thunder Finger created by Zhang Yunting. Although the 9 Heaven Tribulation Thunderclaw is countless times stronger than the Thunder Finger, for Zhang Zizhe, the difficulty is about the same. After all, the practice period is different. In Qingyu Island, The pitch-black electric snakes are densely wrapped in his hands. Between one claw, the current surges, and the black current sweeps everywhere when it touches the ground slightly. At the moment of explosion, Zhang Zizai can even make the entire Qingyu lake full of black electric snakes and turn it into a thunder pool. In addition to the 9-heaven tribulation thunder claw, he also practiced the family's superior sun-level battle tactic body movement. Zhang Zizai almost didn't need to choose, he knew what he wanted. He had used the lightning storm very skillfully. Almost all the skills of Zilan Mansion were related to thunder. The battle tactics he chose were the top-level skills that Zhang Yunting had used in recent years. It was called 8 Steps to Chase Soul Lightning. As the name suggests, it was like lightning, and 8 steps could catch up with the opponent's soul. In the Yanlong dynasty, the combination of this body skill and battle tactics was the very famous 8 steps and 9 tribulations. When used together, one step brought 1 tribulation, and the last step brought 2 tribulations. It was called, 1 step and 1 killing. At this time, his figure was flashing on Qingyu Island. Every time he took a step, lightning surged, running from one position to another, and it seemed that there was a lightning passing through in the middle. In fact, the 8 steps to chase soul lightning could also attack. Zhang Zizai's body was entangled with many lightnings, and it could almost penetrate the opponent. In this process, with the 9-heaven tribulations thunder claw, the power of the heavenly tribulation, and the claws of the Kailan beast, the thunder killing was in an instant. Hoo. After being tempered and matured, at his level, his body movements and fighting tactics are all top-notch. In addition to the 2 major fighting tactics of the Demon Eye, the Eternal God Fist, and many talismans, his strength is very comprehensive. It seems that I have underestimated you. At night, when the Qingyu Island was thundering and lightning, Tianya came here in white clothes and white hair. Zhang Zizai stopped. Unfortunately, although the totem itself has advantages, the power of the totem divine seal is much worse, and it is difficult to match Jingxian and Yechan Tianya side. Then what do you think the talisman king should do to get the immortal talisman? Zhang Zizai knew that he would not come to the temple for no reason. No way, I want to use your hand to revitalize my immortal talisman system, I must spend a lot of effort. Tianya sighed. A lot of effort. Zhang Zizai's eyes lit up, it seems that he wants to help him. In the Chushen domain, Xuanhuan Chushen can help him condense the divine seal. Does he have such ability? It's more than just a lot of hard work, it's almost like handing over my life. Tianya shook his head and laughed. Stop talking nonsense, even if I become stronger, I still work for you, Zhang Zizai said. How can you say that? Even if you succeed in the end, you will get the treasure, not me. Okay, you are the greatest, show me what treasure you have. Zhang Zizai was already familiar with him, so he didn't hesitate to be polite with him, because he entrusted such an important mission to himself. Tianya stood beside Qingyu Lake with him. He took out a jade bottle from the space jade pendant. Zhang Zizai wanted to take it, but he took it back, his face full of heartache. This is a 10th grade spiritual medicine, and I may be the only one in the world. Its preciousness is unique in the world, Tianya said seriously. So valuable, Zhang Zizai was a little flattered, and said, can it be more valuable than the 6 great divine symbols? That's not the case, but there are not many spiritual medicines in the world that are more precious than this. Legend has it that this will only appear once every 1,000 years. Don't keep us in suspense, what exactly is it? This is the juice of the divine print. He was very excited. Legend has it that the divine print tree will be nourished by the spiritual energy of heaven and earth for 1,000 years underground before it will rise above the ground and produce only one divine print, which will only bloom for 10 breaths. After blooming, the divine print tree withers and disappears. This is what I got when I accidentally encountered the divine print blooming during an exploration 5 years ago. I was really lucky that time. You know, if you miss those 10 breaths, you have to wait for another 1,000 years. No wonder it is a 10th grade spiritual medicine. This is the top spiritual medicine in the world. It blooms once every 1,000 years. It is indeed rare. What is the use? Zhang Zizai asked. Have you never heard of the divine print? Zhang Zizai shook his head. This kind of spiritual object is a miracle created by the ancient gods. The divine seal liquid can be injected into the totem sea to condense the pseudo-divine seal. You only need to use it as a foundation to condense the divine seal. It can greatly increase the efficiency of condensing the divine seal and greatly shorten the time of condensing the divine seal. Many practitioners who are stuck in the divine seal realm and cannot move forward can use the divine seal to break through the barrier. So magical, Zhang Zizai was a little surprised. He looked at the jade bottle and asked, with just these, how many levels can I advance? You are dreaming, how many levels? Do you think cultivation is so easy? Tianya was ashamed. But cultivation is very easy, Zhang Zizai laughed. Shameless Tianya rolled his eyes at him and said, there is not much. You can use 2/3 of it to try to condense a pseudo-divine seal on the totem sea, and then condense the real divine seal to see if you can break through a realm before challenging Jingxian. The remaining 1/3 can only condense half of the pseudo-divine seal, which can also increase your cultivation speed, but the increase will not be too much. In other words, only the current 2 divine seals can benefit. Although it is not much, and the improvement effect is not as obvious as the totem evolution, but Zhang Zizai knows that this kind of divine object that can help condense the divine seal is indeed rare in the world, and can be called the creation of the ancient gods. Mortals can't imagine how it was born. It is not an exaggeration to classify such a spiritual medicine as the 10th grade. After saying so much, this thing is of no use to you. Zhang Zizai rolled his eyes, because he is no longer in the divine seal realm. You know shit, if I sell this thing, I will make a lot of money. Time is running out, it is time to sprint with all my strength. Next, you go all out, I will help you inject the divine seal liquid into your totem sea, and then it's up to you. No problem. This bottle of stuff is very valuable, Zhang Zizai doesn't want to waste it. Tianya poured out 2/3 of the contents of the jade bottle, which was a very fragrant juice, transparent in color, and was controlled in his palm. Then, he pressed the divine seal liquid towards Zhang Zizai's abdomen to penetrate the flesh and blood and reach the totem sea. Heartache. Tianya burst into tears during that process. However, for the sake of the dream of revival, he endured it. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 463. The divine seal liquid entered his body, and Zhang Zizai felt a little cool. Tianya's power, which was more profound than the power of the totem divine seal, wrapped the divine seal liquid and entered his body, easily passed into the totem sea, and then dissipated by itself. Control it and shape it into the shape of the divine seal. For Zhang Zizai, this was simple. He used the power of the totem divine seal to carefully surround the precious divine seal liquid, transferred it to the position of the dragon head, and then divided it into 2 halves, condensing it into the shape of a cow's ear. Although it was only transparent and empty, when the dragon head had a pair of cow ears, it could be considered truly complete. The 9 Heavens Divine Beast Candle Dragon secret art is the most complicated in the dragon head position, and the cow ears are the last link. Deer horns, camel heads, rabbit eyes, plus cow ears, the dragon head occupies 4 of the 9 Heavens Divine Beast Candle Dragon secret art. These deer, camel, rabbit, and cow parts are definitely not ordinary things, but 9 Heavens Divine Beasts. As for what kind of 9 Heavens Divine Beasts they are, Zhang Zizai doesn't know. The 9 heavenly beasts gathered into a dragon. The patterns of the deer horns, camel heads, and rabbit eyes are unfathomable, and their characteristics are integrated into the power of the Totem Divine Seal. The patterns of the 9 heavenly beasts are part of the reason why Zhangzai now has such a strong power of the Totem Divine Seal. The Divine Seal liquid can only create a pseudo-Divine Seal, so that Zhangzai can quickly condense this Totem Divine Seal on this foundation. After all, the most difficult step in the Divine Seal realm is to pull the natal totem and create the foundation of a Divine Seal. The 9-layer Divine Seal of a normal person is constantly wrapped around the periphery, so it has always been based on the inner layer as the foundation, but Zhangzai is different. He needs the foundation created by this pseudo-Divine Seal more. After having the foundation, he can continue to use the method of gathering the Divine Seal to gather the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, integrate the power of the holy body and the true Qi, and condense the Totem Divine Seal. After Zhangzai entered the rhythm, Tianya ignored him. He observed for a day or two and left first. The second phase of the Wanfu Hui was extremely fierce. It was about to reach the critical moment. Almost all the participants were making the final sprint. Therefore, the Fuxi was quiet during this period of time. On the day when the Wanfu Hui started, Yezi came out of seclusion and came to Qingyu Island. He was surprised to see Zhangzai still practicing, and Tianya was beside him with a frown. You go to the Wanfu Hui first. He is at the breakthrough point. If he can break through, he will naturally go there quickly. By the way, you should fight as long as possible. You can hold on as long as you can, Tianya said. Breakthrough point? Okay, no problem. Yezi came first. He was also on the number 1 stage. As long as he held on longer, Zhangzai would have more time. However, if he couldn't catch up, it would be a big loss. After all, Jingxian and the others didn't have that much patience to wait for Zhangzai. When Yezi arrived at the Wanfu Hui, there were already a lot of people here. The Wanfu Hui was really lively until today. Everywhere were the talisman students of the Wushan Fuxi wearing black robes. They were a group of weak people and could only gather around 2 talisman generals, Tianyu and Yeyu. Yezi, come here. The pressure brought by the Wushan Fuxi was too great. Tianyu was Yezi's talisman master, and Yezi's practice was basically guided by her. Talisman master Yezi stood respectfully beside him. Have you been to Qingyu Island? Tianyu asked. Yes. How is it? The Fu King asked me to come here first, maybe I can catch up, Yezi said. Tianyu and Yeyu looked at each other. Dad asked him to join the Wushan Fuxi, why is he so concerned? Yeyu asked. Tianyu shook his head, meaning that he didn't know. It seems that he has given up on himself and wants to cultivate 1 or 2 direct descendants in the Wushan Fuxi. Yeyu shook his head. Don't talk nonsense, my dad will not give up, Tianyu said solemnly. At this time, under the attention of the people, a young man in a black robe lowered his head and walked into the field. Your nephew is really taciturn, Tianyu said. Only in this way can one practice in peace and quiet, and achieve far-reaching goals, Yeyu said. As an uncle, you have the nerve to not bring him to the immortal talisman system, Tianyu complained. Come to the immortal talisman system, it will harm him, Yeyu said. You. Tianyu glanced at him unhappily. While speaking, the fire talisman king Ye Dongyang landed on the high platform. The stipulated time is about to come. Tianyu, where is your father? Ye Dongyang asked. He will be here soon, wait a moment, Tianyu said. After all, Ye Dongyang is not in a hurry until the talisman king arrives. Around the talisman pillar, 4 huge arenas have now been built, numbered 1 to 4. They are located in the southeast, northwest, and northeast, and are also called the 4 major talisman platforms of the southeast, northwest, and northeast. 32 people enter the 4 major talisman platforms Jing Qing arranged first. Hearing this, under the attention of the crowd, Yezi and the other 30 talisman students of the lifeless talisman system came out and went to the 4 major talisman platforms in order. The East Futai with Yezi is a little special, after all, he is the only white robe Fu master. Another special thing is that the influential figure Zhang Zizai has not appeared yet. It was not obvious before he did not come out, but now 7 people are standing under the East Futai, and it is clear at a glance. Yezi, where is Zhang Zizai? Today, he gave up voluntarily and did not dare to fight. Jing Xian glanced at Yezi and asked sarcastically. You just watch, Yezi said coldly. But he could not stop many people from talking. It's time, Zhang Zizai still hasn't shown up. Isn't this embarrassing, afraid of Jing Xian's revenge? I did hear that Jing Xian prepared a lot of gifts for them. This chapter is not over yet, please click on the next page to continue reading the exciting content. This guy, after all, is the ancient son of the divine sect, but he actually admitted his defeat directly. It's really. People looked at each other speechlessly, their eyes full of contempt. Don't talk nonsense, he will be here soon. Yezi couldn't stop, but his words were insignificant, and no one paid attention to what he said. On the high platform, Jing Qing asked, 3 Fu Kings, can we start? Start, cowardly people, waiting is meaningless. Wind erosion, Fu King Zhou Yuan said. Wait a little longer, Ye Dongyang said. The stipulated time has come, and people are getting impatient if they wait any longer. The discussion is endless. What are you doing? Let us wait for him as the entire life and death Fu sect. Wait, see if he will hide until next year. With this courage, he is also called the ancient son of God, tut tut. In a blink of an eye, an hour has passed, and Wanfu Island is very restless. People came here in one go, but had to spend their time in this endless waiting. I don't know how many people cursed secretly. Let's start, Ye Dongyang said. People were finally relieved. I told you he wouldn't come at all, a young man beside Jing Xian said contemptuously. It's a pity that so much preparation was not put to use, Jing Xian sneered. Find a chance to go to Qingyu Island. When there are fewer people, it's easier to teach a lesson you will never forget. Yeah. 4 major talisman platforms, 4 battles, carried out by the 2 people who ranked last in each group. Fierce fighting began to break out. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 464. 4 battles were going on at the same time. 8 people's battle tactics and talismans flew together, and each used their own methods to fight fiercely and brutally. After the battle started, it was finally not so boring, and everyone began to forget Zhang Zizai. If he doesn't come, the East Futai will basically be Jing Xian. It's equivalent to giving up. You think too much. Even if he comes, what's the difference between giving up? Haha. Those who can fight here are basically above the 5th level of the Divine Seal realm. In the Yanlong dynasty, this is basically a general or a city lord. When they fight, the movement is huge. If it weren't for the 4 talismans that are strong enough, it would probably shake the earth. Wonderful. I didn't expect Chen Kong to be so powerful. Ranked 32nd, he actually defeated Zhou Xiong. People were discussing enthusiastically. In the crowd, Ning Fan and Shen Hua stood together, their faces grim. They should have fought there, but because of Zhang Zizai's harassment, they lost face. If they hadn't come to see his miserable condition today, they wouldn't have come to embarrass themselves. But I never expected that Zhang Zizai would not dare to come. Don't worry, Jing Xian will definitely find a way. Qingyu Island is not a place that cannot be visited. Shen Hua took his arm and said distressedly. It's all your fault. If you hadn't been so talkative with Yezi, how could I? Thinking of the taste of the jade liquid, he was trembling all over. I was wrong. Shen Hua's eyes were red. She hated those who destroyed her happiness. On the 4 major talisman platforms, battles passed one after another. This kind of round-robin duel was unfair to those at the bottom of the ranking. Even if they won a game by chance, they basically couldn't deal with the stronger ones coming up later. Yezii was an exception. On the East Talisman platform, there stood a tall young man. He was at the 5th level of the Divine Seal realm. He had just defeated his opponent and had an hour's rest time, but he didn't rest for a moment. He pointed at Yezii's nose and said, "Waste, get up here." Immortal Talisman System, haha. The only white-robed man on the field was indeed conspicuous enough. Yezii gritted his teeth. He remembered Tianya's instructions to him and delayed time. Guess, can he hold on for 3 breaths? 3 breaths? 1 breath, right. All the black-robed Talisman students laughed. Talisman C, there is also the Immortal Talisman System. Perhaps because Tianya was not here, they spoke more casually. Anyway, Tianyu and Yeyu would not be angry. The battle between Yezii and the young man Xiangtianci broke out. As expected, Yezii had no fighting ability at all. From the beginning, he ran away on the East Talisman platform. He used the Immortal Talisman System. Tianyun Talisman, Phantom Talisman, Yingling Talisman. These are all Sun-level talismans. Yezii is a genius in this area. Although his realm is only the 1st level of the Divine Seal realm, he is particularly good at talismans. It can be said that his performance this time has taught all the talisman students of the Wuxian Talisman sect a lesson. Let them know what the Immortal Talisman System is for. Most of the talisman students of the Wuxian Talisman system don't know at all. He kept shifting his body, not letting the other party touch him. 3 breaths passed quickly. 30 breaths passed. He basically didn't fight, and used talismans to escape and contain all the way. The talismans of the Undead Talisman system had many auxiliary effects, which allowed him to show his best at this time. In his eyes, Xiangtianci was like a giant beast, constantly chasing, but every time he almost touched him, he let Yezii escape again. Their battle attracted the attention of many people. Look at that white-robed talisman master. He is only at the 1st level of the Divine Seal realm, how can he hold on for so long? Has Xiangtianci not dealt with him yet? The more people looked at him, the more surprised they were. It felt like walking a dog. Xiangtianci chased him all over the field like a beast, but unfortunately they didn't really touch him. You coward! If you have the guts, come and fight, like a sissy, what kind of thing are you? Xiangtianci was furious. The angrier he was, the more different people looked at Yezii. So the talismans of the Immortal Talisman department are so useful. It seems that we have to learn some after we go back today. It is really useful in combat, and it seems to be able to heal. They saw that Yezii's arm was cut and blood was about to spurt out, but he used a talisman and it was completely healed. Now, no one dared to say that he would be dealt with in 3 breaths. Compared with his rationality, Xiangtianci was like a beast without IQ. This Yezii, in 2 or 3 years, will be the young leader of the Immortal Talisman department, Ye Dongyang exclaimed. What's the use, Thunder-plagued Talisman King Yan Xiao sneered. No one answered, because in their opinion, it was really useless. It was just speechless that a battle that was thought to end the fastest lasted the longest time in history. Xiangtianci chased and cursed, and his mouth was dry. A full hour passed. Damn it, I won't fight anymore, he panted and jumped off the Dongfutai, cursing. This result was also dramatic. Yezii was sweating and stood there in a daze. Do you want to rest? Jingqing asked. Rest, of course I have to rest, Yezii said. 1 hour, Zhang Zizai gained another hour. He quickly rested, after all, he was too tired. He saw many admiring eyes. This chapter is not finished yet, please click on the next page to continue reading the exciting content. It seems that this time, he inexplicably became famous. He got stuck here with Yezii, but the battles of the other three talismans went all the way to the end. Ye Chen was the fastest, and he easily defeated his opponent and entered the semi-finals. Fan Qinyu's difficulty was not high either. After all, she was the only one in the group who was in the 7th level of the Divine Seal realm. The 4th group was the most anxious, and in the end Fan Shen was almost half dead before he defeated his opponent and entered the semi-finals. In the final semi-finals, the winner of the 1st group versus the 4th group, from the current point of view, Jing Xian easily entered the final battle, while Fan Qinyu was going to be intercepted by Ye Chen. People once again sighed that Jing Xian's choice of the 5th place was such a smart decision. Zhang Zizai really didn't seem to come. An hour later, Ye Zhi didn't last too long in the hands of his opponent Xiao Kun, because his talismans were basically used up. But even if he lost, he still got enough respect from many people. I tried my best, brother Zhang, hurry up. The other three futai had already decided the winners. Here, Xiao Kun, who was ranked 9th, fought against Jing Xian, who was ranked 5th. This was the last battle of Wanfu Island today. Xiao Kun was Jing Xian's friend. After he got on the East Futai, he raised his hand to congratulate Jing Xian. I admit defeat, Xiao Kun said simply. It's really boring. You don't even dare to fight people despised. That's not the case. It's called self-knowledge. In that case, Zhang Zizai didn't dare to show up, which is also self-knowledge. Haha, that's called shamelessness. Jing Qing took a look and prepared to announce that Jing Xian entered the top 4. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 465. In view of Zhang Zizai's abandonment of the battle, after consultation with the 3 talisman kings, it is now decided. Jing Qing's voice echoed in Wanfu Island. Who said Zhang Zizai abandoned the battle? In the direction of Qingyu Island, Tianya's voice like a huge bell suddenly came. He used a talisman called Amplified Note, and the sound directly caused the trees on Wanfu Island to tremble. In a quarter of an hour, Zhang Zizai will be here, the voice swept over again. Everyone was stunned. What trick is this? On Wanfu Island, many people frowned. Jing Xian was already standing on the East Futai. He was very disappointed that Zhang Zizai did not show up today. He never expected that at this last moment, there would be a surprise. He hurriedly said to his father, "Dad, then I will wait for him for a quarter of an hour." The disciples of Wanfu Island were looking forward to this battle, so no one objected. Since he is coming, why is he doing this? Is he playing tricks on us? He is so late, is he going to be the last one to appear? He didn't come for a long time before, could it be that he fell down when squatting in the toilet? In any case, such behavior is really intolerable. Forget it, since he loves to show off so much, let Jing Xian teach him a lesson, let him suffer a little, and he will be honest in the future. Finally, a flying talisman came from a distance. The one who was driving the flying talisman was Tianya, and there was a black-robed boy behind him. When the flying talisman passed by, he quickly smashed it on the East Talisman platform, causing the East Talisman platform to shake. Zhang Zizai, Jing Xian's eyes condensed. Across from him, the black-clothed boy had an indifferent face, and a gray-black aura condensed on his body, full of a sense of destruction, as if he was born for killing. The pair of black eyes could penetrate the chest. Everyone's eyes were fixed on this boy who looked very fierce as soon as he appeared. Just now, they were all laughing at this man's shamelessness. It was just that when this young man really appeared and showed his evil spirit, when his aura began to suppress the entire Dong Futai, many people shut their mouths. Pretending to be mysterious, to create a way to appear, pretending to be pretentious, just shows your inner cowardice and fear. Jing Xian looked down on him. Yes. That's it, people didn't know how to describe the disgusting delay, and Jing Xuan's mouth spoke their true thoughts. Zhang Zizai's mouth corners slightly raised, black air lingered on his body, and the devouring field began to cover the entire venue invisibly, like a giant beast awakening on the Dongfutai. His aura was rough and vast, sweeping over like an ancient beast, and many people were thrilled. Guessed right, smart. Zhang Zizai's dreamy voice came, and then, like a cheetah, he suddenly took action, and didn't talk nonsense with Jingxian at all. The determination and efficiency of the action directly made this battle burn. Avasai Hell. This was a contest between talisman masters. Zhang Zizai was even more impolite. He used the Avasai Hell talisman in the first instant, mainly to cover up the devouring domain. In this hellish death aura, his opponent really didn't realize how terrible Zhang Zizai's devouring domain was. He actually attacked directly. Jingxian was furious. This was clearly an act of not taking him seriously. His totem was the frozen blackbird totem. As a flood-level totem, the frozen evolution source had a terrible freezing effect. Black wings suddenly grew behind him, and he flew up. When the wings flapped, the temperature around him dropped rapidly, and everything on the East Talisman platform began to freeze. In an instant, it was covered with ice and snow, and black ice condensed on the East Talisman platform. Ice Storm Talisman. Jingxian stretched out his slender fingers, with several dark blue talismans on them. He activated the talismans instantly, and in an instant, countless blue ice burst out from them. Under the induction of the storm, it turned into a storm mixed with countless ice spikes, sweeping towards Zhang Zizai. This is just the beginning, Zhang Zizai. Today I, Jingxian, will play with you slowly. Jingxian revealed a smile full of evil. This overbearing word made the disciples of the Wuxian Fu system excited, and many girls were full of peach blossoms in their eyes and fell for this ice man. Really? But I only left you 3 breaths of time. In the ice storm, Zhang Zizai suddenly smiled coldly. 8 steps of soul-chasing lightning. 1 step. In an instant, countless black lightning storms were wrapped around his body. The lightning was dense, forming a terrifying lightning force field around his body. Jingxian was about to speak, but suddenly, a large amount of lightning was born from nowhere, almost the same number as the black lightning on Zhang Zizai's body, completely entangled him, forming a second lightning force field. Buzz. When the 2 lightning force fields were formed, Zhang Zizai rushed from his position to the position of Jingxian's body in just a moment, almost catching up with the instant movement of the bell. Buzz. Zhang Zizai's position overlapped with Jingxian's position. He instantly crossed the ice storm and appeared in front of Jingxian. You. Before Jingxian could say a word, he saw that Zhang Zizai's palm had turned into a dragon claw, or a unicorn claw. Anyway, it was a beast claw. On the beast claw, the dense black lightning turned into scales and nails, just like 5 swords. 9 heavenly tribulation thunder claw. Boom. There was a thunder in the sky, and a bolt of lightning penetrated and converged with Zhang Zizai's claws. In an instant, the light was brilliant. Jingxian was engulfed by lightning while he was stunned. Thunderbolt. 1 claw passed. Jingxian screamed. 5 very deep blood marks appeared on his chest, deep enough to see the bone, and blood spurted out, allowing Zhang Zizai to dodge perfectly. Jingxian fell from the sky and suddenly fell to the ground. Puff. Another mouthful of blood spurted out wildly. Ding. A black shadow rushed down from the sky and nailed between Jingxian's legs, almost making him childless. That was the sword transformed by Zhang Zizai's magic eye. If I wanted your life, you would be dead now. With a buzz, Zhang Zizai relied on the lightning force field and instantly landed on the East Futai. It must be said that his combat effect was really cool and rough, especially the 8-step soul-chasing lightning. It was really a soul-chasing. Lightning force fields formed in 2 places in an instant. When Zhang Zizai rushed from one lightning force field to the second lightning force field, Jingxian, who was hit, was actually paralyzed by lightning. Then, the nine heavens tribulation thunderclaw, which was also thunder, broke out. One step and one claw, directly killed instantly. Now the black lightning disappeared, Zhang Zizai fell to the ground, and Jing Xian was still vomiting blood on the ground, and fell to the ground. The lightning transformed by Zhang Zizai's true energy was still entangled at his wound, making him unable to move and extremely painful. And the entire Wanfu Island was silent. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 466. Back then, my father created a great reputation in Yanlong with this body movement and fighting tactics. What he is best at is to take down the enemy leader in an instant among thousands of troops. The speed of the lightning and the lethality of the thunder claws are a perfect match. Zhang Yunting's lightning was purple. When the color of the lightning changed to black, Zhang Zizai found that the destructive power was even stronger. In fact, Jing Xian prepared a lot of means and drew a lot of talismans. Unfortunately, in a life and death battle, Zhang Zizai would not give him the opportunity to use them. Killing you instantly, taking your life, and letting you torture slowly. It was agreed that 3 breaths would definitely not be much. Of course, the ability to crush Jing Xian in this way still relied on the power of the totem divine seal that he had reached the 5th level of the divine seal realm. Fortunately, Yezi bought time for him, and fortunately, the divine seal liquid allowed him to sprint for half a month and successfully advance, otherwise today would really be a battle to the death. Everyone present was not an ordinary person, and it was clear who would win and who would lose. The result of victory or defeat was hard to accept, and what was even harder to accept was that Jing Xian was defeated so badly. When he got up from the ground in grief and anger, Zhang Zizai held the magic eye in his hand and pressed it against his throat. He looked at him with a smile and said, "Don't you want to admit defeat? I'll give you another chance, what do you think?" People were in an uproar. He was too arrogant. You're looking for death, Jing Xian was indeed unwilling. When Zhang Zizai put away the magic eye, he really ignored his injuries and pinched out the talisman to start. 3 breaths later, a figure fell to the ground again with blood spurting out, and there were 5 more scratches on his body. Enough, it's over, Jing Qing came down from the high platform and quickly took out the elixir to heal his son. It can be seen that his face was flushed and he was furious. Zhang Zizai put his hands behind his back and asked in front of him, "General Fu, did I win? Did I make it to the top 4? People were already thrilling, and they felt even more aggrieved when they heard it at this time, but there was nothing they could do. In this world, the winner is the king. You, one Jing Qing said tremblingly. He glanced in the direction of Ning Suiyu, and Ning Suiyu and Ning Fan both had livid faces. That's great, I was worried that I would be late today and would never have another chance. Thank you all so much for giving me the opportunity to play. Sorry, after all, I have reached a critical moment in my cultivation, and it is not easy to stop, Zhang Zizai said to the people around him very politely. Unfortunately, his politeness was more like a slap in the face. They asked for this slap in the face themselves. If they had not slandered him before, how could they feel slapped in the face at this time? Pa Piatianya smiled and clapped, saying, "The performance is not bad. In fact, we should be happy that such a genius is no longer the ancient son of the divine sect, but a member of our life and death talisman section. Think about it, everyone, if you exclude him for no reason because he is from the divine sect, does it just show your stupidity?" Tianya said this to many people. Yes, a natural talent. Ye Donjiang's eyes showed approval. He looked in the crowd and saw Ye Chen, saying, "At the same age, Ye Chen is not your opponent. No matter how unwilling people are, this is an undeniable fact. Ordinary defeat and crushing defeat are really not the same concept. Moreover, Zhang Zizai crushed and defeated twice without giving any chance. This is a kind of deterrence that makes people have to obey. Even Ye Dongyang admired. Fortunately, you are not the same age. Ye Dongyang smiled. It seems that he has a great grasp of Ye Chen. Zhang Zizai glanced over there, and the young man named Ye Chen lowered his head, as if everything had nothing to do with him. Very low-key. Or in other words, he was immersed in his own world. Whether it was belittlement or praise, he had no reaction. There was only one thing in his eyes, the totem pattern. That was enough to be obsessed. First of all, congratulations to the top 4. The 10,000 Talismans Association has reached the final stage. The top 4 will fight each other. Originally, they were supposed to rest for half a month before holding the final battle, but things have changed, Ye Dongyang said. What changes? People were very curious. The Talisman Master is away for something. He must be present in the final battle and pass on the immortal talisman on the spot, so the final battle can only wait for his return. He said that it might take a month, so we will tentatively set a month for the final battle. In fact, Tianya said that the 10,000 Talismans Association was originally a direct connection without continuous rest, but because of the time to block the return of the Talisman Master, so many intervals were set in the middle, which happened to give Zhang Zizai time to catch up with these young people. Otherwise, the 10,000 Talismans Association would have ended long ago. At this time, it is unknown why the Talisman Master went out. Zhang Zizai, Ye Chen, Fan Qinyu, and Fan Sheng, the 4 of you, get ready. When the final battle comes, only fight for the first place, not the 3rd or 4th place, Ye Dongyang announced. Then, you can disperse. Go back and continue, Tianya said to Zhang Zizai. Zhang Zizai pulled Ye Zai along, and the group left. At least 30,000 people watched them leave. Among them, Ning Fan, Jing Qing, Jing Xian, and Ning Suiyu had the most vicious eyes. Brother Jing Xian's idea of choosing the 5th place doesn't seem that smart. Fan Dongliu laughed and left. Fan Dongliu is too much, Jing Qing said. What? Do you dare to beat him? Ning Suiyu gave him a cold look. Suiyu. Get lost. Ning Suiyu pulled Ning Fan and turned around to leave. Xuanhuan followed, which made Ning Suiyu look at her fiercely and scolded, Bitch, don't follow my son. This chapter is not over yet, please click on the next page to continue reading the exciting content. Xuanhuan was dazed and stood there. Ning Fan's face was full of grievances, but he could only hum and let his mother forcibly pull him away without saying a word. Returned to Qingyu Island and celebrated with Ye Zai. Knowing that Zhang Zizai still had to sprint for the next decisive battle, Ye Zai chose not to disturb him. Zhang Zizai still had some God Seal liquid that could sprint to the 6th level. This 10th grade spiritual medicine is really magical. Zhang Zizai has deeply felt its benefits, but it's a pity that there are only so many, less than 1/3 left, and it's actually not very useful. The later the God Seal realm is, the more stable it needs to be. It is almost impossible to make rapid progress like at the beginning. So the final decisive battle is actually left to fate. He was very focused and spent time on making progress in many aspects, including talismans. Unfortunately, Ye Chen's soul level is the virtual god realm, which is higher than that of Mr. Xiao. He can draw Kun level talismans. Kun level talismans are too threatening to me. So far, no one has been able to make Ye Chen show his true strength. He is 5 years older than me, so the advantage is too great. Zhang Zizai had a slight headache and couldn't find a way out at all. He was practicing, while Lingling was active in the surrounding talisman sea. Last time, she picked up the beast talisman for her, so Zhang Zizai basically let her go and let her roam around. That night, Lingling crawled back to Zhang Zizai's side, blinked her eyes, and said, Daddy, Lingling is afraid. What are you afraid of? Zhang Zizai stroked her head. An uncle took Lingling's little bell away, she said aggrievedly. Zhang Zizai was struck by lightning, and he woke up instantly. After a careful look, he found that the bell on her chest was gone, and the reincarnation calamity appeared. Zhang Zizai never expected that someone would take her bell away. Uncle said, his name is Yechen. The bell pouted, looking aggrieved. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 467. Yechen. Zhang Zizai stood up holding the bell. There was a faint bloodshot in his eyes. You are a low-key person, obsessed with the way of talismans. I thought you would be a respectable opponent, but I didn't expect that you would be such a villain. Never expected that he would take away something so important to the bell. Zhang Zizai also blamed himself, thinking that no one would find the specialness of the little bell. After all, it was left by the 9 immortals, and normal people would think it was a decoration. Being too careless will give people an opportunity. Lingling has always been near Qingyu Island, so he came to monitor me. Now he is indeed a competitor, but Zhang Zizai overestimated him and actually did such a despicable thing. Some things are as important to Zhang Zizai as his life. He knew that Yechen lived in Xuanhuan Island. Are you waiting for me to ask for it back? Without saying a word, he went directly to the direction of Xuanhuan Island with the flying talisman. Sitting on the flying talisman, Zhang Zizai asked the bell for details. You met him around Qingyu Island? Yes, Lingling was swimming. He said he wanted to borrow my little bell to play with, and then he didn't return it to me and was fierce to me. Then what? He ran away. No matter what, it was unforgivable. What Zhang Zizai was most worried about was that Lingling had permanently lost the treasure that suppressed the reincarnation calamity. That would be really troublesome. This worry made him furious. The immortal talisman? A decisive battle? He couldn't care about it anymore. If something that worried him happened, he would fight to the death. The speed of the flying talisman was very fast. In the middle of the night, Zhang Zizai turned into a storm and pierced towards Xuanhuan Island. On the way, it attracted the attention of many people. Isn't that Zhang Zizai? Where is he going in such a hurry? Let's go and follow him to see. In less than 2/4 of an hour, Zhang Zizai had appeared above Xuanhuan Island. It was a black island, shaped like a ball of fire, burning brightly. It was just a dead silence on the island, without a single light. Yechen, come out. Zhang Zizai held the bell and landed on Xuanhuan Island, his eyes emitting black air and scanning the surroundings. No response. However, many people behind him slowly followed to watch the fun. What is he doing on Yechen's Xuanhuan Island? Provoke. Winning Jingxian gave him a lot of confidence. Haha. It's powerful, but he was waiting for the old talisman master to come back for a decisive battle, so he suddenly came to provoke, which is too hasty. Do you really think that there is no one in our life and death talisman sect? Life and death talisman sect, that was in the past, now, it's the Wuxian talisman section. Some of those talisman students were very old, but they didn't have the strength of the heavenly talisman guards. They only dared to discuss from a distance, and they talked vividly, but no one came up. Purely watching the fun and making sarcastic remarks. Wang Zifu. When no one on Xuanhuan Island responded, the dozen or so talisman students who followed saw Zhang Zizai using the Wang Zifu of the immortal talisman system. So, he also knows the talismans of the immortal talisman system. The world talisman king really has privately guided him. I was wondering why he was mixed up with people from the immortal talisman system. What did he use the 10,000 breath talisman for? To find Yechen. This is too arrogant. He came to someone else's house and used the 10,000 breath talisman to find Yechen's whereabouts. As they said, Zhang Zizai really didn't have the patience to play this kind of hide-and-seek trick with Yechen. The 10,000 breath talisman told him that Yechen was not here. At this time, another group of people surrounded him, and in the crowd, Zhang Zizai saw Ningfan. In the blink of an eye, he appeared in front of Ningfan, and one hand had already pinched his neck, which directly made Ningfan's face blue and purple. Zhang Zizai, what do you want? Ningfan gritted his teeth and asked. Let him go, a group of people shouted loudly, but did not dare to step forward. Have you seen Ye Chen? Zhang Zizai asked. He knew that Ningfan, Jingxian, and Ye Chen had a good relationship. You want to find him? Not waiting for the decisive battle, Ningfan asked with a sneer. You just need to tell me where he is. Zhang Zizai exerted a little force, and Ningfan was completely out of breath. His face became more blue and purple. He was lifted up by Zhang Zizai, and his feet were shaking in the air. Although he was older than Zhang Zizai, he was not as tall as Zhang Zizai. Ye Chen, he is on Huoming Island. Go find him and see how you die, Ningfan roared in a low voice. Huoming Island is at the same level as Tianya Island. It is the territory of the King of Karma Fire Talisman Ye Dongyang, which is larger than Tianya Island. Even if he is in the sky, Zhang Zizai will chase him. He threw Ningfan away and directly activated the flying talisman, rushing towards the direction of Huoming Island. Huoming Island is very close, not far from Huoyun Island. Zhang Zizai came over, and there were a group of followers hanging behind him, and there were more and more people. They all came to watch the fun. Huoming Island was right in front of him. It was a red island. The rocks and gravel on it were all red. The temperature was extremely high. Even the leaves of many trees were red. Even in the middle of the night, this vast island looked like it was burning. It was vaguely seen that there were many halls on Huoming Island. When Zhang Zizai approached, someone on Huoming Island saw him. Someone immediately appeared and blocked Zhang Zizai, saying, Stop. No one is allowed to enter Huoming Island without the summons of the King of Talismans, not even you, Zhang Zizai. 3 people came out to intercept, all of them were over 30 years old and close to middle-aged Tianfu guards. They were responsible for guarding Huoming Island, to put it bluntly, they were the gatekeepers. 2 men and 1 woman, all looked fierce. I'm looking for Ye Chen, Zhang Zizai said. His voice was simple and cold, and it sounded like he was very determined. What a joke, you came to Huoming Island to find someone, Tianfu guard Gu Shiman sneered. She was the only woman among the 3, dressed up, and the other 2 men were around her. Excuse me, is Ye Chen here? I have something important to talk to him about. Zhang Zizai had no intention of clashing with irrelevant people. Ye Chen entered the Fire Life Sea to practice, and he was in seclusion for a month. This was the reward given to him by the King of Fu. He won't show up for this month, so go Tianfu guard Lin Kangji said. Yes, you don't even have a chance to embarrass yourself, Tianfu guard Gu Shiman said. Their strength and status are equivalent to the divine servants of the divine sect. The cultivation effect of the Fire Life Sea is comparable to that of the first God realm. It seems that after seeing Zhang Zizai's performance, Ye Dongyang has a sense of crisis. The lifeless talisman is worth being cautious, and cautious again. But what does this have to do with taking away something as important as Zhang Zizai? He took the little bell and went to the Fire Life Sea to practice. Zhang Zizai has to wait for him for a month. What a joke. I can't even wait for a quarter of an hour. Zhang Zizai wants to go in. He ignored the 3 heavenly talisman guards, circled around, and headed towards the Fire Life Island. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 468. Tianfu guards Gu Shiman, Lin Kangji, and Chen Qing, the 3 of them originally thought that Zhang Zizai would retreat and no longer be embarrassed. But they never expected that Zhang Zizai would do such a thing, bypass them and go straight to Huoming Island. And, didn't even bother to discuss it with them. Zhang Zizai is a treasonous person. He broke into Huoming Island without permission. Take it down, Tianfu guard Gu Shiman said angrily. I'll do it, As elders, they didn't know how to take action together, so Lin Kangzhi rushed out first and intercepted Zhang Zizai. Chen Qing was depressed for a moment. He opened his mouth too late and let Lin Kangzhi get the limelight in front of the beauty. Teaching Zhang Zizai a lesson was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to show off his power. Stop. If you take another step forward, don't blame me for being rude to you, Lin Kangzhi said coldly. I don't want to attack this junior, let the news spread, and ruin my reputation. Are you afraid of losing too badly and being embarrassed? Lin Kangzhi never expected that Zhang Zizai would come up directly. When he tried to intercept, Zhang Zizai's attack suddenly fell on him. How dare he attack the Tianfu guard? It's so counterintuitive and so audacious. The older the people present, the more older they become, and they can no longer stand it. Does he think that Tianfu Wei is as easy to deal with as Fusion? This guy really has some skills, but he's so arrogant that he knows no bounds. Forget it, let him suffer a little. But even if they were yelling and scolding, Zhang Zizai didn't show any fear. His devouring domain suddenly expanded, and he continued to include Lin Kangzhi, and even included Gu Shimen and Chen Qing. Abi Hell Talisman, the death energy of hell is everywhere. A classmate's axe, Lin Kangzhi lowered his head and chuckled. He was also a talisman master. He was striking out talismans and performing battle tactics at the same time. Storm Soul Talisman. The Inner Demon Soul Piercing Finger. This person's attack is specifically aimed at the Divine Soul, and since he is a soul in the virtual spirit realm, it is very lethal. However, he couldn't touch Zhang Zizai. Zhang Zizai hugged Lingdang, and Lingdang was very angry. She turned into a little white dragon in an instant and wrapped around Zhang Zizai's neck. At this time, father and daughter were united. Whoosh! When the opponent's soul-storming talisman and inner demon soul-piercing finger suppressed them, the two of them disappeared in an instant, and appeared behind Lin Kangzhi in the blink of an eye. This speed is much faster than Zhang Zizai's own movement. However, in the next moment, he had already used 8 steps of soul-chasing lightning, endless black lightning, entangling their father and daughter. Buzz! 2 lightning force fields suddenly appeared, one on Lin Kangzhi's body and one on Zhang Zizai's body. Where have you gone? Lin Kang was really shocked at this moment. Infinite lightning suddenly wrapped around his body, reminding him of what happened to Jing Xian. When he suddenly turned around, a black shadow of lightning suddenly shot in front of him. 2 lightning force fields with different attributes suddenly impacted at this moment, detonating the power of explosive lightning and sweeping through Lin Kangzhi's body. There are 2 lightning force fields, one is Yin Thunder and the other is Yang Thunder. There is an attraction between the 2 thunders. It is this attraction that pulls Zhang Zizai to suddenly impact the opponent at a speed that exceeds the same level. In front of my eyes. At the moment when the lightning force field exploded and Lin Kangzhi's whole body was paralyzed, Zhang Zizai's 9 heavens tribulation thunder claw fell again. Tear. The anti-chaos killing talisman. At this dangerous moment, Lin Kangzhi showed his elder's adaptability and used a talisman to avoid Zhang Zizai. Buzz! Another bolt of lightning struck him. This time the lightning force field was even more violent. The 8 steps of soul-chasing lightning were each step stronger than the last. Similarly, the second tribulation of the 9 heavens tribulation thunderclaw is also stronger. Tear. Lin Kangzhi did not hide away this time. He screamed, and there were 5 huge blood marks on his chest, as if he had been struck by 5 knives. Bang! Lin Kang fell to the ground, dyeing the gravel even redder. The whole process was so fast that even before people could react, they saw a Fu Shen knocking down the Tianfu guard. Are you going to stop me? Lightning struck, and Zhang Zizai appeared in front of Gu Shimen and Chen Qing in an instant, asking them coldly. Gu Shimen and Chen Qing's faces were stiff for a long time. Did they know that the 7th level of Lin Kangzhi Divine Seal Realm was similar to them? He was simply crushed and defeated. You dare to hurt Lin Kangju, you are an unforgivable sin. No one can save you now? You are dead, Gu Shimin screamed. So, you mean to stop him? Zhang Zizai looked at him coldly. How arrogant, there were hundreds of onlookers. They were watching from a distance, not daring to come up, especially Ning Fan. At this time, he clenched his fists, gritted his teeth, and roared, Zhang Zizai hit Tianfu hard for no reason. Wei, if he wants to force his way into Huoming Island, please use the image talisman to record it so that the evidence is conclusive and his crime is unforgivable. Yes. Don't let him get away. The ancient son of God. I think he never really wanted to come to our life and death talisman section, otherwise, why would he not take us seriously? People were outraged. Senior Gu, we support him in capturing him. We also have King Fu's support, many people said. Under such a situation, Gu Shimin could only look at Chen Qing and said, come together. Just kidding, she didn't dare to do it herself. Okay, follow me. Chen Qing finally caught an opportunity to join forces with her, and of course he was not willing to miss it. He and Gu Shimin quickly suppressed Xiang Zhang Zizai. Zhang Zizai smiled. His 8-step soul-chasing lightning was least afraid of having many opponents. When there were many opponents, each of their bodies would be Zhang Zizai's lightning force field. This chapter is not over yet, please click on the next page to continue reading. Moreover, they had been in Zhang Zizai's swallowing field for some time. When they took action in the spotlight, Zhang Zizai was faster than them. Buzz. Before Gu Shimin took action, she was swallowed by the lightning force field. The lightning wrapped around her body gave her a headache. Vortex Talisman, she used the Vortex Talisman to throw away the lightning. The effect was indeed there. When Zhang Zizai rushed in front of him in an instant, his Vortex Talisman was equivalent to blocking Zhang Zizai's 9-heaven tribulation thunderclaw. Wow! People exclaimed. What did they see? When Zhang Zizai rushed in front of Gu Shimin and let her dodge with one move, he did not stop, because at this time, Chen Qing also had a lightning force field on his body. Buzz. Lightning flashed, and Zhang Zizai suddenly changed his opponent and attacked Chen Qing. It's still 8 steps and 9 tribulations. Chen Qing was ready, and also used the Vortex Talisman to dodge Zhang Zizai's attack. But the next moment, Zhang Zizai bumped into Gu Shimin again. Their bodies were directly entangled by the lightning force field, and Zhang Zizai was jumping on both sides of them continuously. The terrifying thing is that the lightning force field on the two people is getting bigger and bigger, and the lightning force field on Zhang Zizai's body is getting more and more violent. This is completely accumulated from the two people. They are all crazy. Disappear in an instant, appear in an instant, it is a fatal blow. When the 9-day tribulation thunderclaw accumulated to the 5th tribulation, Chen Qing could no longer block it, spurting blood and retreating, his body was almost burned by lightning. Buzz. When he appeared again, he was already in front of Gu Shimin. This time, the lightning force field continued, and Gu Shimin was electrocuted and trembling all over, and his eyes turned white. Eternal Divine Fist. Zhang Zizai did not use the 9 heavens tribulation thunderclaws this time. Instead, he changed his method and used the Eternal Divine Fist to knock Gu Shimin away and directly fly into the Fire Life Island. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 469. This scene made many people, including Ning Fan, feel their legs weak. These are 3 heavenly talisman guards at the 7th level of the Divine Seal realm, and the latter 2 still join forces. They joined forces and were defeated by Zhang Zizai, and they could still bear it. What they couldn't bear was that they joined forces, and they were still crushed by Zhang Zizai. From the beginning of the battle to the end, the two of them had almost no chance to make a move. No one was seen, and they were almost electrocuted to death. When Chen Qing and Lin Kangzhe fell to the ground and howled miserably, Gu Shimin flew into Huoming Island and did not know whether to live or die. Hundreds of onlookers were standing there, holding recorded image charms in their hands. The moment Zhang Zizai's eyes glanced at them, hundreds of people retreated in an uproar. They originally used some talismans to step on the water. At this time, some people even lost control and fell directly into the water. This scene is simply spectacular. Unfortunately, Zhang Zizai just glanced at them, ignored Chen Qing and Lin Kangzhe, and went straight to Huoming Island. This time, he was really angry. The three fallen heavenly talisman guards explained everything. The onlookers had a lot of resentment in their hearts, but at this time they felt more surrendered. In this situation, they did not dare to say a word. Including Ning Fan, he wanted to speak, but the corners of his mouth couldn't stop trembling. No one can stop him anymore? That's not necessarily true. I saw a middle-aged man walking out of the depths of Huoming Island. Fuzhang, Jingqing. He hugged Gu Shimin, put her aside, took out an immortal talisman to heal their injuries, then looked at Zhang Zizai with a pair of cold eyes, and said word by word, "Do you know, you are here, do what?" "I'm looking for Ye Chen," Zhang Zizai responded directly. There was no hint of fear in Team Jinking's eyes. "You came to Huoming Island and found Ye Chen in this way. Do you think that in this life and death talisman sect, you already have an identity equivalent to the son of the ancient god? Second only to the identity of the 5 major palace masters?" Jingqing took a step. "Come step by step." "That's not true. Ye Chen took my things and hid. Today, I just want to get my things back. I don't look down on anyone, but I will be full of hostility to everyone who stops me. If you really want to stop him, don't blame me for killing him one day." What he said was very cruel, and it was already a threat to Jingqing's head. Haha, Jingqing laughed dumbly and said, "When you are young, you can be willful and don't know whether the sky is high or the earth is high. You are wrong. I know you are strong, but there is no need for you to stop me. It has nothing to do with you. Why should you make me hate you?" Zhang Zizai said. "The people you severely injured are all my people." "You say it has nothing to do with me," Jingqing shook his head. "They are Fu Hai's people, how can they be yours? You are in Fu sect, running a small gang." Zhang Zizai smiled disdainfully. "That's enough. It seems that you really can't shed tears until you see the coffin." Jingqing looked at him coldly. "I will also give you one last chance to relax. Whoever stops me today, I will fight to the death with anyone from now on." His words were very plain, but the murderous intention contained in the plainness was even more terrifying. "It seems that you don't understand the truth. Your genius is indeed unparalleled in the world, but now you are only in the divine seal realm." Jingqing's eyes became colder. "Hey, you want to strangle me? Can you touch me?" Zhang Zizai smiled. People were shocked. "Jingqing, couldn't you touch him? How is it possible? He is so arrogant that he doesn't even have the most basic common sense." People were dumbfounded. There were now more than 500 people watching, and this matter had completely spread throughout Fu Hai. "Lord General Fu, I have no intention of making enemies. It's meaningless. I defeated Jingxian in an honest and fair manner, and you should be convinced. Now, I can either go in by myself without you blocking me, or you can help me tell Ye Chen that I'm waiting for him outside. What do you think?" "How appropriate?" Zhang Zizai asked. "I think it would be more appropriate to capture you and imprison you in the fire hell so that you can suffer the pain of karma," Jingqing shouted loudly. Amid people's exclamations, he was no match for Zhang Zizai. Fu General's strength was comparable to that of the holy god attendant. He rushed to Zhang Zizai in the blink of an eye. He stretched out his hand to grab it. In front of him, Zhang Zizai looked like a little chicken. Zhang Zizai is about to be suppressed. Jing Qing could only sneer in his heart. The arrogance of this ancient son of God was really so ridiculous. But immediately, he became sluggish. In an instant, Zhang Zizai disappeared before his eyes. He appeared 50 feet away. Master Fu General, are you overworking yourself? You can't even touch my shadow, Zhang Zizai said with a smile. People are more sluggish. They watched with their own eyes as Jing Qing's expression changed from calm to livid. Why are Master Fu Zhang so stunned? Are you frightened by my fear? Zhang Zizai asked with a smile. Since Mr. Fu General is not willing to help me call Ye Chen out, then I will go in by myself. Having said this, Zhang Zizai swaggered towards Huoming Island. Jing Qing chased after him with cold eyes and captured him again. Buzz. Zhang Zizai is missing. I have absolutely no idea where he went. His instant movement may have moved him to some special location, such as in the woods or in the sea. Jing Qing's face turned purple as he chased towards Huoming Island. People looked at all this blankly. Master Fu, who is almost the youngest, can't touch a hair of Zhang Zizai? What kind of play is this? No matter how exaggerated the story is, you wouldn't dare to write it like this. Seeing the liver-colored face of Jing Qing, people knew how angry he was. This matter would spread and might be even more bizarre. In the crowd, Ning Fan felt so heartbroken that he couldn't breathe, because he felt that he would never be able to take revenge in this life. Just now, Jing Qing must have seized this opportunity to avenge Ning Fan, but he couldn't catch Zhang Zizai. If Ning Suiyu heard it, Jing Qing would probably be despised to death. But all this is true. But Zhang Zizai still encountered trouble. Because at this time, there was a man standing in front of him. He was a calm, serious, and powerful man. He was Ye Dongyang, the king of Karma Fire Talisman. Zhang Zizai, if you do something wrong, Tianya can't protect you, he said seriously. Even you come to stop him. Zhang Zizai was a little depressed. He took my things. What made you come here so loudly? Ye Dongyang looked into his eyes and asked. My daughter's bell, Zhang Zizai said. A bell? So, you are deliberately looking for an excuse to come to my Huoming Island to cause trouble. Tianya, do you know what you are doing? Ye Donjiang's eyes became even colder. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 470. Reincarnation calamity is Lingdang's weakness, and also Zhang Zizai's weakness. Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow. He didn't want to threaten others with his identity as the Nine Immortals, because exposing his weaknesses in this way might cause a devastating blow to himself in the future. At this time, when he faced Ye Dongyang, he could say that it was a treasure left by the ancient god to his daughter to cover up the calamity of reincarnation. Maybe he can get it back right away, but after that, others will know that he has this weakness. Once they find out that the Nine Immortals will not appear in the origin continent at all, this weakness will be infinitely magnified. Zhang Zizai was very angry before, but when Ye Dongyang came out to stop him, and even thought that the daughter's bell he said was a ridiculous excuse, he finally came to his senses. Today, I was really too impulsive. This world is full of dangers. He didn't understand what kind of person Ye Chen was, but the hatred was completely forged. Let Tianya come over. Ye Dongyang had no intention of talking to Zhang Zizai. I'm here. The Tianya Fu king who had just arrived came to Zhang Zizai's side. Jing Qing, Fan Dongliu and other god generals arrived one after another. King Fu, Zhang Zizai, Jing Qing's face turned purple. Before he finished speaking, Ye Dongyang waved his hands and said, "It's embarrassing enough. Stop talking about it." He turned to look at Tianya Fu King and said, "What do you think we should do?" Tianya stood on the edge and asked seriously, "What happened?" Ye Chen stole something very important from me and hid in the hell of fire. I don't understand why he did this, Zhang Zizai said. What, Tianya asked. A bell, Ye Dongyang said. On her body, Tianya pointed at the bell. Zhang Zizai nodded. It's her favorite thing, Zhang Zizai added. Take away children's toys, Tianya shook his head and asked, Ye Dongyang, why did Ye Chen do this? Do you want to anger a father? Empty words, Ye Dongyang said, he will definitely not be so boring. It's that uncle. I saw him several times on Wanfu Island, Lingdang said angrily. I didn't expect that such a young child could speak so clearly, no wonder she was the ancient god's niece. Where is Ye Chen? Just let him come out, Tianya said. Huoming Hai, Ye Dongyang said. Tianya was startled for a moment. The talisman master gave him a month of training time in the Fire Life Sea. It's impossible for him to interrupt it, and it's impossible for us to go in, Ye Dongyang said. This is the arrangement of the Wuxian talisman master. It sounds like it's definitely not possible to get in. If he really takes your things, I will ask him to return them to you after a month, Ye Dongyang said. The Fire Life Sea is equivalent to the first god realm. Zhang Zizai wanted to go in, but it was obviously impossible. And here at the Life and Death Talisman sect, it seems that even the Talisman King cannot enter casually. Is this true? Zhang Zizai asked. Of course I take it seriously. He was just worried that the little bell would be lost forever. If he was away for a while, it would be fine with the bell. Don't worry, if that kid really took it, I'll get it back for you, Tianya patted him on the shoulder and said. Zhang Zizai looked into the distance, he was still a little unwilling, but he felt the feeling of having to lower his head when he was under the eaves. But what about the fact that you forced your way into Huoming Island and injured the Tianfu guard? Ye Dongyang asked in a deep voice. Your own disciple stole other people's things and hid in the Sea of Fire. He naturally has a reason to come to him. As for the heavenly talisman guards, the 3 heavenly talisman guards can't even deal with a single fusion. What's there to say? Tianya said coldly. Road. He directly summoned a flying talisman and asked Zhang Zizai to follow him. The two of them rode away from Jueshan and left here in the blink of an eye. Ye Dongyang and others were left with cold eyes. It's all gone, Ye Dongyang said. King Fu, if this continues, Zhang Zizai will become really lawless. If he gets the Wuxian talisman, it will be troublesome, Jing Qing said. So, you mean, Ye Chen will be like your son? Ye Dongyang gave him a cold look. That's not true, Before he finished speaking, Ye Dongyang turned around and disappeared into the darkness of Huoming Island, leaving Jing Qing in the darkness with his face turned purple. Are you sure it's Ye Chen? Tianya asked seriously on the way back. Sure, Zhang Zizai said. That thing is important, right? Tianya asked. Zhang Zizai nodded. Speaking of which, judging from his previous performance, he really doesn't look like such a person, Tianya said. Zhang Zizai didn't believe it either, but the facts were the facts. The key lies in the decisive battle of Wanfu society, Tianya said. The outcome at that time can determine many things. Zhang Zizai nodded. I didn't expect that the talisman master would allow him to practice in the Fire Life Sea for a month. The difficulty this time is too high for you, Tianya frowned. Fire Life Sea, improve quickly. This is one thing, and on the other hand, it shows that the talisman master values him, Tianya sighed and said with a smile, it seems like our struggle is in vain. That's not necessarily true, Zhang Zizai frowned slightly and said, before, I might not have been motivated enough, but now, he has to pay the price. You, Tianya smiled. His smile probably meant that Zhang Zizai was a little too confident. Hurry up and see if the remaining divine seal fluid can make you progress further. He certainly didn't expect to reach the 6th level of the divine seal realm. Continuous breakthroughs are not realistic. But if there is progress, it can also enhance strength. This chapter is not over yet, please click on the next page to continue reading the exciting content later. Tianya left after he finished speaking. Zhang Zizai landed on the edge of Qingyu Lake. "Daddy, don't be in a hurry." Lingdang hugged his neck and comforted him. "Be good." Zhang Zizai touched her head and said, "Don't leave the range that Daddy can see in the future. Don't talk to strangers when Daddy is not around." "Okay. I hate bad uncles." Lingdang pouted. Haka has already boasted. For the Wanfui decisive battle, Zhang Zizai made a plan for himself. He wanted to sprint in the evolution realm for a month, and let Zhang Yuning take care of him. Back to the evolution realm, Zhang Yuning immediately found that little Lingdang was missing. Zhang Zizai said it again, and she burst into tears. "We must teach Yechen a lesson," Zhang Yuning said. "Lingdang, follow your aunt," Zhang Zizai said, and then he entered the vast sea. He transformed his body into lightning and thunder, shuttled through the ocean, and found the place with the most concentrated spiritual energy in the earth veins to practice. There are many such places in the evolution realm. With the help of the remaining divine seal liquid, he still has the possibility of sprinting. The days passed quietly, but in fact, the undercurrent was surging. Suddenly, on the 8th day after he came to the evolution realm, the world in the evolution realm suddenly rolled, and all things were sad. "What's going on?" Zhang Zizai rushed out of the seabed and came to the deserted island. Such a big commotion alarmed Lu Dingxing and others who were in seclusion. "Boss! Look at the sky." Everyone was startled and looked up at the sky. There was a dim yellow vortex covering the entire sky above. At this time, this huge vortex suddenly turned blood red. The blood-red vortex made the entire evolution realm shrouded in blood.